Ho ho buddies, welcome to Borderline Games. I'm Gareth and this is Raging Loop episode 9. Last time, the wolves struck again. We woke up in the morning to find that old man Kanzo has been killed. But also Yoshisugu was killed on the way to disposing of Kanzo's remains. We found that he'd also been killed. While Yoshisugu had been torn completely apart like he'd been fighting off these werewolves, Kanzo only had his head removed. Does this hint at maybe more than just werewolves are doing the killing? Let's carry on and find out. So we're about to do the feast. I wonder whether we're going to be invited to the feast this time. Let's begin the feast. We've got to do something about the one who killed the old man and Yoshi. Why don't you just do that all the time? Condense the names for me. His words got the attention of basically everyone present. But they didn't reach the sobbing mother and her older son who was gently consoling her. I said we're gonna do the feast! Yoshisugu-kun. Why did he have to go against the law? His efforts and death had only worked to corner not only his mother, but everyone else here. To corner not just his mother. It only worked to corner not just his mother, but everyone else here. Okay, whatever. I guess that means upset? It was useless. He'd gotten some weird fur for us. No one, not even me, had any doubts about what we were dealing with here. Maybe he was literally just attacked by wolves? A situation where everyone was desperate, acted on their own accord, and didn't know how to use their lives well was basically the worst. And apparently this line of thinking I'd had would foreshadow the next turn of events. Uh-oh. Where did Haru-chan go? Shit, why was everyone in such a hurry to do the worst things possible? Shiemi Sarasawa, Chikamochi, Kamashida, Takami, Moro, and I went out to search for Haru Mikishima. Ryora showed no signs of calming down, so Yasunuga-kun stayed with her. The only saving grace with this is that as people die, I'll have to remember less and less names, and I still won't be able to pronounce them properly. Kiyonosukishi refused to come, arguing that it could be bad if there wasn't enough manpower around the dining hall, and he wasn't wrong about that. It wasn't unlikely that some fur-covered murderer or Haru-chan's kidnapper was still around. To prevent any surprise attacks or accidents, we split into pairs. We were given a huge hoe, no, why did I say huge, and a sickle for self-defense. Be careful, you two. Shout if something happens. Loud enough so we can hear you, but low enough that others can't. Alright, let's go, Maki. Time to do work, Hassan. The skirt would have made the search harder for him, so he changed into a school uniform. It wasn't cut out for the job either, but he had no other clothes. At least it was better than a one-piece dress. He seemed to enjoy wearing girls' clothing, so changing into his uniform was probably his way of showing he was serious about it. He kept his easygoing tone of voice, but I felt like there was gravity in his eyes too. He might have been pretty shaken. Haru-chan! Haru-chan! We walked around Yasumisu, shouting until our throats became dry. We checked every bush, all the patches of tall grass and everything behind every tree. We even searched the water around the paddy fields, but it didn't seem like we were any closer to finding her. What do you think happened to her? I don't know. Maybe she's shocked by her granddad's death. No, before that she'd been acting weird since this morning. Huh? Was she? Is she really fastidious or something? Fast what? A clean freak. Ate anything dirty. I think I saw hints of that ever since we first met. Oh, I'd say she's just the greatest scaredy cat here. Wink. Scaredy cat, huh? She was always really afraid of all the corruption talk. Maybe she was just scared of getting corrupted. I see. Fear based on superstition. That made sense, but why had it suddenly gotten worse? What had happened last night? That's why I don't think Haru-chan could kill anyone if she was a wolf. Is that what you think? I don't know if she is, I don't know whether she is one or not, but I really don't think she could if she was. How prudent. That's not like you. Well, we're not talking about me here. I don't want to try and get a read on you. I just want to hear your ideas on what's going on with Haru-chan right now. I've no idea who or what you're confused about. But to me, Haru-chan is as important as Yasun, if not more. I don't really care about anyone else. So we should just find her. Good point. But no matter how hard we searched, we saw no sign of her. She could have been hiding somewhere, or maybe she'd collapsed. But I was beginning to entertain another idea. What if she ran away from Yasumitsu? I asked, knowing everyone would deny the idea. That'd be hard to believe. When the mist comes, Yasumitsu is connected to Yomi, Ba-chan's words, so anyone trying to escape would just end up there. Not to mention, those mountains are dangerous. All that considered, if there was something that would drive her to escape from the village, what could it be? Everyone fell silent. They couldn't even imagine it. It was like their brains had stopped working. If she'd actually wandered out into danger, then we'd wasted too much time searching for her in the village. I had to hurry, so I didn't hesitate to use some big assumptions that bordered on chicanery. What if she can no longer trust the village or the people here? What do you mean? She might have seen something at night or early morning or come to some sort of realization. Like, for example, what if she found out that someone she knows well is a wolf or who killed people like it was no big deal? Everyone gasped. She's young, so she's still pretty unstable. And since Yasumitsu is so small, it wouldn't be strange if she felt like she lost her place here if someone betrayed her. The girl seems pretty emotional, so it makes sense that she jumped straight to running away, right? Or maybe she killed Yoshi, is that why? Because she's got like a thing for Yoshi, right? Is that right? I can't remember. You make a solid argument. But then what do we do? Give up? That was the thought of someone from Yasumitsu. I'll go look for her. I'm not afraid of the corruption. And that was the thought of someone from Yasumitsu who had a few screws loose. Anyway, I'm an outsider. I'm not exactly averse to leaving anyway, so I'll look for her too. I said I'd stop you, didn't I? Don't worry, I'll head back the moment it gets dangerous. She definitely won't head in Saranaga's direction, so I'll focus on the path to school. Also, adults shouldn't turn their backs on children, right? Yeah, they should, says Takumi. Hassan. I can't argue against that. Of course. It's possible that she's still in Yasumitsu, so you two keep on searching for her here. Leave it to me. Run away if it gets dangerous. Hassan, about what you just said. What do you mean? You know, the thing about Haru-chan losing trust in everyone as a result of something she saw. What about it? I have like an awfully calm face considering what's happening. Moki's got the face of someone that is very scared. That didn't actually happen, did it? Who knows? I was just raising the possibility. It's likely though, isn't it? So, what, you think she saw me or Yasun walking around with a mouthful of huge fangs? That's a possibility too. Not sure I buy that. Wink? Is that just your intuition talking? Yep, it is, speaking of which. I also feel like this Feast of the Yomi Purge is designed to keep the wolves from being outed easily. You can't see them at night because you can't walk outside. You can't stay gathered in one place and watch each other. You can't call the police, so there can't be any investigations. And since everything's covered in mist, things can happen without anyone realizing. And that's why you can't get that sort of solid proof. How could the players send people to be hanged without the slightest bit of material evidence? If you ignore the weird guardian powers, it was all quibbles, agitation, sophistry, emotional arguments, connections, popularity. Basically, the power of communication. I don't really get why, but yeah, I think it's designed that way on purpose. Nothing was certain. They were put in a dangerous argument, with their only weapon being their eloquence. It was a feast of doubting, hurting, and eventually killing one another. If there was such malice behind this, then Chikamochi, Kamoshida had a point. Are you a detective or something? No, that'd be Yasun. He might know more than he lets on. I'd have to talk to him then. We arrived at the mountain pass, separating Yasumisu from the rest of the world. The large stones on the sides were like torii without a top. They might have had religious significance. Okay, this is where we got to last time. And then we disappeared, didn't we? We walked past the torii without a top. There's no rule against stepping beyond here, right? Nope. Only that you can't run away from the feast. We were going out to find Haru-chan, so we were good. Ignoring the fact that Haru-chan was breaking that law, we passed between the stones. But we soon had to stop. The path was blocked by a landslide. According to Moki, despite being pretty rocky, the ground in this area was strangely fragile, so landslides weren't that uncommon. There'd been some pretty bad rain 3 nights ago, hadn't there? If that was related to the mist appearance, it wasn't unlikely that we'd get both the mist and this landslide at the same time. Despite this, this felt just a bit too convenient. I had to consider the possibility that the people in the settlement above blocked the road to keep the Yumabito from getting through. Hassan. There was something way more important. We found footprints in the still damp mud. It was proof that she'd passed through here. They disappeared into a small cliff that only reached up to my shoulders. She had to have climbed up and disappeared into the forest. Let's hurry. Yeah. Wow, so we actually are going past the point where we were when we got lost. So maybe because we're trying to find somebody, it doesn't count as us fleeing. The term virgin forest was used to describe forests that were still untouched by mankind, letting nature have complete control over it. Many of the cedars here looked important. No. Imported. Jesus Christ. Many of the cedars here looked imported. So that term probably didn't apply to this one. However, it wasn't tended to whatsoever, so the words natural or underdeveloped definitely worked, right? There were many fern saplings on the surface, a canopy of leaves above, and a thick mist all around. It certainly didn't feel like a place humans were welcome. For better or worse, the new ferns seemed slightly trampled, indicating someone had passed through recently. Over there. Be careful. She got lost on this road after all. Haru-chan? Should you really be shouting like that? It's one of the basics of living in the mountains. The beasts run away if you scream. Oh yeah. I'd almost forgotten about the very real threat of wild animals. I realised I'd lost myself in the mood and became kind of embarrassed. Haru-chan! Say something! Shouting over and over, we kept moving forward. She tried to follow the path, but all the cliffs and boulders in the way made her stray from it. 10 minutes later, we'd lost all sense of direction. Yeah, this place really was dangerous. Could we really find her? And even if we did, wouldn't it be too late? I was reminded of Yoshisuke Aribe and his cruel fate. Were we about to lose yet another life? As my thoughts turned to that very real possibility. I heard some weak weeping. Haru-chan! Maki! Stay away! Are you alright? Please, don't come after me. I had a bad feeling about this. Something really bad might have happened to her. Wait up! Hey! Chikamochi went after the voice with no hesitation. His body was quickly buried under all plants and mist. Give me a hand, Hassan. His lack of hesitation felt dangerous in some way. Was I just imagining it? Anyway, I went after him and quickly caught up. It hurts! It hurts! Haru Mikishima was buried under all the greenery. It's a leg. Stop! Ow! I walked up and, man, this was pretty bad. Her leg was all covered in blood. Her shoe and foot were pierced by a sapling that was broken right at the bottom. She stepped on this. Can we break it off? Nope. We gotta pull it out. That'll open the wound. There's some lawn marsh pennywort and chameleon plants here. Let's close it with them. You can do that. Nosatu is the family that made medicine. First I'd heard of that. I had no choice but to believe him. She resisted verbally, but she was too tired and weakened to do it physically. I picked her up, doing my best to ignore her wailing because of the pain, and pulled her away from the branch. Chikamochi quickly took care of her wound and used a handkerchief to stop the bleeding. Let's go back. Can you carry her? Of course. You sure you don't want to do it, though? Who knows? I just don't have the build for it. I thought of saying that Haru-chan would have preferred him, but she was barely conscious thanks to the pain. We didn't have time to waste on sentimentality, though. Lead the way. The one last person is enough for one day. One lost person is enough for one day. Going back is easy, but man, it really does look like getting back is impossible. Agreed. Haru-chan, I'm so glad you're all right. She isn't. Takumi ni, cold Taibai. We've got a wound to patch. Got it. Our return caused quite a commotion, and by the time things had begun to calm down, it was way past noon. Haru Makishima's escape attempt distracted everyone, but none of the problems were actually solved. Kanzo Mikishima was killed by the wolves, while Yoshisuke Arabe was taken by the corruption. Yoshisuke-kun's death was especially problematic. Each meaningless death was yet another obstacle against resolving the feast. Even if they picked and hung someone during the day, it wouldn't guarantee that there'd be one less wolf. It was way more likely that they'd get rid of an innocent. Even worse, the wolves in the group would most likely try to leverage the hangings in their favour. They'd claim to be innocent while casting doubt and blame on the other survivors. To win, the humans needed to do their best to see through such trickery and identify the wolves, possibly even making them confess. That was how I saw it anyway. And I was the one with the least info here. With that in mind, all humans who died by breaking the rules were actually doing the wolves a favour. If she'd actually disappeared, I'd have said the same about Haru Mikishima. Assuming she was human anyway. Perhaps someone encouraged them to break the rules. If that was the case, the wolves were ruthless, knew the rules well, and were steadily advancing towards a complete victory where all humans lay dead. That'd be someone influential or a player who's invaluable to the humans. That'd be Kanzo Jishan or Yasukun. And just as we'd feared yesterday, the wolves had silenced one of the most important people in the feast. It was hard to believe they'd chosen him just because they were scum or because they didn't like him. The situation was really bad. Another thing to note was that Yoshisuke Orobi's death greatly affected Kurara-san, who was responsible for everyone's meals. That was a major problem. Good work, everyone. Here's some. When she tried to give us tea, once we returned from the search, her face was pale and she was shaking like she was having a seizure. Despite her attempt to carry on as normal, her composure was in pieces. It was so painful I could barely watch. Takumi-san should have been supporting her, but he was just gloomily hanging his head. In the end, Shimi had to lead Kurara-san back to her room and stay at her side. I could only hope that that was enough to calm her down. However, it was nearly time to do the inevitable. I recall you saying that we should start today's feast. Now is a good time as any, don't you think? Kiyonosuke-shi addressed the downhearted people gathered in the dining hall. Does it look to you like anyone's up for it? The day will end at this rate. The wolves are clearly intent on killing us all. Can we really waste time waiting in a situation like this? It'd work in their favour. We have to pick someone to hang, no matter what. Don't you agree, Moro? Alright. Yasunaga, try talking to everyone upstairs. That was where Tyson looked after Haru-chan, and Shiemi looked after Kaoru-san. Oh, I'll go. You don't have to, Maki. Just let me. Chikamochi winked at me for some reason. It might take a while. Yeah, take your time. Everyone has to be there after all. I will go prepare. Please do. Oh, wait. Now is my chance. Oh, okay. Yasunaga-kun. Yasunaga-kun, can we talk? Huh, about what? Sorry about your brother. Thank you. That makes it a bit better for him and I. That's a very mature way to talk about it. Maybe I should have sounded more my age then. This boy was already pretty mature. You didn't get along with him. That's not it. We didn't always see eye to eye, especially recently, but he was a really good guy. I think so too. It seemed like deep down the tough guy routine was really just an act. Did he get along with your mother? He did. Despite all he said, he really loved her. And she probably loved him more than me. Oh, that's not what I was asking, sorry. All human relations were complicated. Prying too deeply wasn't a good idea. I'm sorry, what did you want to know? A few things. Mostly about the legend. Tyson is the better person for that. I need the opinion of someone more rational. First question. Why do you think the wolves kill humans? Because they're angry at humans for tricking and killing them. Let me rephrase that. Why do the people given the role of the wolf suddenly become able to kill their friends and family with no remorse? Huh? Are you suspicious of Haru-chan and I? Oh, no, sorry, that's not it. I want you to look at this from a general perspective. Say you've been told that you're a wolf. Could you just accept it and start killing people? No way. Exactly. No way you could. Of course, there are those who could, but most couldn't, either out of fear or guilt. Moki is a good example. The people here are afraid of certain things, but they do have lines drawn in the sand. If the lives of those they care about are on the line, they won't hesitate to face the corruption and the wolves. That's only because Moki is special. He's a genius. Genius? Yes. He can easily make predictions and decisions normal people can't, and he'll readily throw away anyone or anything he doesn't care about. Everyone else thinks he's just weird, but I think he's a genius. I see. I think I agree with you there. But anyway, what I'm saying is that you people aren't the types to magically become murderers just because of some corruption. Of course, there'd be people who do it because the corruption would come for them if they didn't, but even when they wouldn't do it without even they wouldn't do it without hesitation. Got there in the end. But the wolves were dealing with aren't hesitating at all. I don't know where you're going with this, but I think it depends on the personality of whoever the wolf is. It'd be easy for people who never had any aversion to killing. But there are two wolves, right? Yeah, it seems that way. I see. Let me ask you this then. Does Yasumitsu have more than one person that's capable of murder? One psycho in a group of people I could see, but two seems pretty unlikely. I think a better assumption is that there's some way to turn even an ordinary person into a ruthless killer. If that isn't true, the lack of infighting doesn't make sense under the current circumstances. When you put it like that, this is just something I heard from a teacher at school, but you could do it by giving them something to fight for, couldn't you? Basically, you need to make them think that they're doing the right thing. That the wolves are doing the right thing. I see. That's an interesting way to look at it. It's how countries convince their people to go to war. Yes, that's what the lesson was about, but I think that your perspective is a bit flawed. What do you mean? For example, most of the girls in this settlement are timid and prefer to leave the big decisions to the men. Even Haru-chan is like that. So if the wolves are a man and a woman, it's entirely possible that the man's taken the lead in doing the killing while the woman is just following along. Also, for all we know, the wolves could be arguing all the time, and they just didn't happen to hesitate in killing this one time. Yeah, good point. But I do think that there's some secret to why this feast's lasted so long. Traditions like this usually die out. It makes me think that there must be a way to ensure the killings continue. Your idea is certainly interesting. I don't think you should call it interesting. Not in a situation like this. Oh, sorry about that. That was insecure of me. Let me ask you one more thing then. Go ahead. I was working under the assumption that nothing particularly strange is happening here. But what about you? Do you think there's something mysterious going on? I don't want to believe it, but I think there is. Why is that? Did you see a god or monsters or something? No, it's hard to put it into words, but the fact that the mist appeared when we had a whole 4 outsiders here made it feel like there was a higher power at work. No matter how I look at it, I don't think mist like this could have been produced by human hands. Not to mention that it's strange how the wolves can enter sheltered houses and kill the people there. There's also the fact that if one of us killed someone, you'd see a change in their behaviour, or some evidence would be left behind. We can't explain those things, so yes, I do think there's something mysterious going on. Oh, I see. Alright. Sorry for asking such a weird question. By the way, who do you think are the wolves? Oh? Haruaki Fuzaishi-san. He cut me off with a stern voice. Oh, I see. Sorry, but that is something we talk about in the feast. We don't have the right to ask that. Oh, my bad. Listen, we'll have to hold the feast to decide which one of us we should sacrifice today. It's important to propose who we think is suspicious, but it's also very dangerous. Something we said outside of the feast could be used against us and become a fatal mistake. The fact that you asked me that makes me feel like someone's maliciously using you against me. Please stop. Good point. I'm sorry, really. Oh, but now I won't blindly believe that you're an ill omen, but I won't stop suspecting that you're involved somehow. If I ever find out you had something to do with Yoshisuke's death, I'll... You'll what? He glared at me. I'll have to avenge my little brother. I see. Of course you would. I'll just head to the cage and do my best to be as unsuspicious as possible. Oh, you shouldn't do that. Why? Today's feast might drag on until the evening. It might be too late by then. You should go to your room in the dorm and ask someone outside to block the door handle with a stick. I see. Good idea. This boy was really smart. If Takumi Morishi was a site foreman type, he was the manager type. I could see a talent for using people. Can I ask you something too? Of course. Do you like Shioni? Whoa. From a political standpoint, I should say no, but yeah, she's likable. I see. Well, she seems pretty available, so she'd probably date me if I or anyone else asked. Oh, are you being considerate of me? I had a feeling that Moki told you something weird. Mm-hmm. It's not like that. What I felt for her is a thing of the past. She was the only older girl around these parts, so I was attracted to her, that's all. This place was gloomy and serious, and she was the only free-spirited person here. She's amazing. She's as amazing as Moki. You're saying that she was a rascal? Yes. So much so that she almost killed someone. Hold on. Well, it was an accident. Though it's strange you think she's available. Jenny is actually pretty shy. Is she now? Or maybe she just changed a lot during her 3 years of college. So yeah, I've already gotten over her. I don't think about her every minute of every second of every day. Oh, hang on, I missed that. Now I feel like you're the one who's being weirdly considerate. That's not healthy, you know? It's all good if you like her. This is hardly the time or place for that. Good point. That was it, huh? Eventually everyone gathered and went to the hall. Just as I was told, I asked for them to lock me in my room. After getting everyone, including Takumi-san and Tai-san, to understand, Yasunaga-kun, Chiemi, and I went to the dorm. Jenny, you think he can jump from the window to the branches? No way. Even if he made it down, he couldn't get back. The two verified how secure a place this was to lock me up. If they were the wolves, it'd be impossible to outwit them. Humans stood no chance. Anyway, we're locking you in. We'll come open it up if we have the time, but you might end up staying like this until the morning. Alright. Fine by me. It's going to be hard, but I hope you do well. Thanks. Sorry you're caught up in the problems of such a crappy village. That's like the understatement of the entire game. I'm more worried about you. Wow, isn't that nice? I'll do my best. Wink. All done? We're locking you in then. Yeah. You be careful too, Yasunugi-kun. You're now your mother's only child. Yes, that's true. Double wink. And so the door was closed. I could hear them set up the stick. So far, the only ones I'd talked to face-to-face were Shiemi, Takumi-san, Moki, and Yasunaga-kun. Just 4. The ones I hadn't talked to were Tai Yamawaki, Mikako, Uematsu, Meiko, Kaori, Aribe, Haru Makishima, Kiyonosuke, Nasato, the old wolf guy, a whole 7. I had no idea if there was significance in that, but I wanted to know what kind of people they all were. 4 people had already died, and if you ignored me, there were 11 left. Once the snake revealed what Kiyonosuke was, he and the snake, Takumi-san, would be the only ones with confirmed roles. The other 9 would be suspects. When 1 was hanged, there'd be 8. And when 1 died in the night, there'd be 7. Which was still quite a lot. They had to hurry before it was too late. The humans had to act now. Hello. Whoa, what? The supposedly fixed door slightly opened up. It was Shiemi. I forgot. But I might not be able to give you your dinner, so have this at least. She threw me a yellow food box, the kind you could find in any convenience store. I wonder whether Shiemi's drugging us. Seems like weird that she's the only one that's giving us food. Hope that's not the case. Thanks. Seriously. Don't mind it. Oh, by the way. Oh, what? Tell the monkeys to reveal themselves. Why? Think about it. You'll understand, and you know you have to do something before it's too late. Shieni, what are you doing? There's no time. Go. Yeah, okay. She closed the door and put the stick back. Alright, what next? Okay, that's another episode of Raging Loop. Thank you so much for watching. Next time I guess we're going to see the feast. And we're going to see if the monkeys do reveal themselves, whatever that means. I can't remember what the monkey's role was. Anyway, have a good evening, and I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.